it burns. It feels like your whole body is on fire.
You can see my eyes are still with the drugged up.
Drowsy, not dozy.
Drowsy.
My heart dropped. It was just, oh man, it was definitely scary. All right guys, it's done. Hi guys, and welcome back. This is the second part of this whole infertility series that I'm doing on my channel. It's all about our IVF journey and our step-by-step process. We're gonna be digging and diving deep. Go ahead and grab you a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, your popcorn, your wine, whatever you need to feel relaxed. I got my water right here because I am hot and I give out a breath and I'm thirsty because I am 9 months pregnant right now. But yeah, get ready for this juicy news because I am going to be going into super details about what all happened. If you're new here, my name is Angela. I share everything lifestyle, and if you're interested, I love to have you part of the family, so don't forget to click that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you get notified when I upload videos, and follow me on my social media channels including Instagram because I do keep you guys updated on there. So in my last video, I shared with you guys how we got pregnant and why we ultimately had to do IVF. So if you want to know our history and what actually happened, all that information is in our previous video, but just know that we had been trying for 3 years, which I'm pregnant now. And I will show you guys a belly shot at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. If you're going with IVF or you know someone going through IVF, just know that it can be very stressful, very painful, and uncomfortable. It can put you in a straining position because there's so many things that can go on when you're dealing with infertility, from miscarriages to mishaps to complications. It's just so much. But just know that God is always ultimately in control. And I know sometimes you can get so down, but I want to encourage you, don't get down about it. And at the end of the day, science can only do so much. But don't think science is against you because God is in the midst of everything. It's just like the story when the man was drowning and God sent like 3 people to help him and he didn't accept them, and then he asked God, why didn't you help me? And God was like, I sent you help. You didn't accept it. You refused. So science is a way of God helping as well. So if you do need help, it's there. And don't think that God is not in the midst, because he is. Trust me, he sends you help when you need it. Just like if you have cancer, you have chemo treatments and things that can help you. You know, there are definitely ways of getting help. For our process, I am so grateful because he has been with us from day 1 to the end. And he's made our process so smooth and it's just amazing. I'm gonna go into details about our story, but I just praise God because we've only had to do the process 1 time and we didn't have complications, holdbacks. I didn't have any miscarriages. I haven't had any morning sickness, really. I've never thrown up. So, I mean, it's just, I have to say, you know, besides the aches and pains and, you know, normal pregnancy things, it's been a smooth journey first, and I thank God because he's been in the midst of it all. Okay, let's just dive into details. I'm gonna try to time frame this thing for you guys, and we're gonna go through the timeline together to give you what all happened, what we deal with, and I'll come back and do, you know, my medications and all of that also. So just bear with me and stay with me. I have my notes right here and my timeline, which is in my IVF journal, guys. And that's another thing I just wanted to throw out there. I wish I would have had my journal. So I created an IVF journal, looks like this, and I wish I had this journal created when I was ultimately going through IVF, because you go through so much and you have so much information, and if you're not writing it down and keeping track of it in one place, it's just so hard. I was trying to go back and scrap up dates and scrap up medicines and all this stuff for this video to make sure it's as detailed as possible, and had I had this journal, it would have saved me so much time, and it just keeps everything in one place. This thing will make your life a lot easier. So I highly recommend this journal if you're going through IVF IVF, or if you know someone going through it, buy it for them. It's gonna be a lifesaver, trust me. So I have filled out mine. It just took me a lot longer because I had to go pull a lot of information from the past. So that's why I'm looking down, because I do have my notes in front of me. I don't want to miss anything for you guys, and I'm gonna try to give you everything as much as possible, so you know. So the whole point of this series is to provide you guys just a series that gives you almost nearly everything you need to know and be prepared for mentally and physically when dealing with IVF. And I hope this series helps you and gives you understanding and hopefully inspires and encourages you as well. All right, so as I mentioned from my previous video, I have PCOS. So I was already on metformin and I had already had an HSG. So we knew we had to do IVF. We checked with a few doctors to get an idea about IVF to see who we were comfortable with. And ultimately we decided on a doctor that we both felt very, very comfortable with. We loved him and the prices were great because, mind you, IVF is expensive. And I'm gonna actually go more into detail about the expenses of IVF in my next video and go super in depth about that. But just know it can be pricey. So in November of 2018, that's when we had our initial consultation appointment with the doctor we decided we wanted to go with. Oh, and he asked us when did we want to start, if we want to start then or wait to January after the holidays, because that was November, and you know you have Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and all of that, and so we decided to wait to January to start the process. January 21st came, and that's when we had a doctor's appointment to get started. And so after that, 2 days later, we picked up all our prescription and we went through all of our training for the medicines. It's a lot of medicine. It's a lot, which I'm gonna go more into depth a little bit later in the video. And that was January. And so February 14th, because we had to wait till I had a period. So February 14th was just Valentine's Day. It's the day I had my baseline ultrasound, which in a baseline ultrasound, they check your ovaries to make sure you don't have any cysts on them and that you're free and clear and your body's ready to start this process and to start medication. So Valentine's Day of last year, 2019, is when we officially got the green light to start everything, to start the medicine and to start the entire process. After that, I'm trying to give you guys dates so you will know that there are lots of doctor's appointments, okay? There are lots of blood tests and lots of ultrasounds involved. FYI, just so you know, okay? So after the baseline and we started medications, I had 3 doctor's appointments after that. And my egg retrieval was scheduled for February 28th. So that was about 2 weeks. So 2 weeks of medicines, because what they're trying to do is have you produce as many eggs as possible for your egg retrieval. So that's the whole point of the medications, to stimulate your ovaries and to pretty much overgrow them to produce a lot of eggs. I had my egg retrieval February 28th, and it takes a few days after that because they pull your eggs. They also take the sperm from your husband or sperm donor, and it takes about, usually most doctors do a 5-6 day transfer. So to get results back, you have to wait 5-6 days to see how many eggs are mature, how many fertilize with the sperm, and then how many ultimately become a embryo, which is a blastocyst. So they usually like for them to become a 5-day blastocyst, which is an embryo, before putting in your body. Some doctors do 3-day transfers, but most doctors prefer 5 because they have a higher chance of surviving pregnancy and attaching to your uterine lining. So egg retrieval is a surgery, okay? You undergo anesthesia, and I was bedridden for 3 days after my egg retrieval because your ovaries are super big, guys. So normally our ovaries are about kiwi size, okay? But after all the medication and pumping up your body that they're trying to get your body to produce so many eggs, my ovaries per se were as big as a cantaloupe. Yes, a cantaloupe. So you can expect to gain weight during this period, and also there is a risk of developing OHSS, which is ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome. So because of the hormonal treatment to enlarge your ovaries, once they take your eggs out of your follicles, which your follicles are in your ovaries, those follicles fill up with fluid, and that can cause some super serious complications. I mean, I do know people that was in the ER for days. So OHSS is definitely an issue and a risk that happens commonly when you go through IVF and doing an egg retrieval. And what happens is, so after they do the egg retrieval, you wait your 5-6 days, and if you have embryos that form and develop, then they will do a fresh embryo transfer, because your embryos are fresh and you didn't have to freeze them. And so they will literally, after the 5-6 days, they will take that fresh embryo and put it in your body and see if it attaches to your lining, which ultimately will mean you become pregnant. But because I developed a mild case of OHSS, my doctor's like, I don't want you sick, I don't want you in the hospital, and if we put that embryo in you, it's gonna take your body to another level, and you don't want that. So he recommended I do it frozen, which worked out great, because honestly guys, I told you I was bedridden. It was a lot. My body was going through a lot. I don't think I could have dealt with getting pregnant then, because I was not feeling great, and it was just not a great time. So it was fine with me to wait. I mean, of course it's disappointing that you can't try to get pregnant then, but when you're dealing with all the issues you're dealing with, you're like, okay, yeah, that's fine, we'll wait, you know. So we had to wait 2 months to my next cycle, not the first cycle that comes on after, but it's your following cycle. Then you can try for your frozen embryo transfer, where they put a frozen embryo. Well, they'll unthaw it, but they'll put an embryo in you once your body has calmed down and relaxed and cooled off. When dealing with OHSS, my doctor recommended all salty foods, because that helps to get that fluid out quickly, and I did. The things that I ate salted nuts, ate pork rinds, beef jerky, and pickles. And when I tell you that fluid dried up so quick, literally I was stuffing my mouth of that stuff every day. Like, he told me what to eat, and that's what I ate. They also recommended electrolytes, so that's like Smart Water or Gatorade, and so I stocked up on Gatorade and Smart Water, any of those waters really. I did all the different brands. It just depended on which one was on sale. And my OHSS symptoms were gone. My fluid was dry. When I went back in for my next doctor visit, they were like, oh, the fluid is gone. So I didn't have to go to the hospital. I didn't end up in the ER, and my fluid was gone relatively quick. So that was just to give you an idea of egg retrieval, as well as give you a definition of frozen versus fresh embryo transfer. Okay, well, here are my results from my egg retrieval. We had 23 eggs retrieved from me. 16 were mature. 13 of them actually fertilized with the sperm. And mind you, we also did have assisted hatching as well as ICSI. Assisted hatching is when they crack the egg open so that the shell can come off, and then ICSI is when they take one egg and one sperm and they put them together and they stick the sperm inside the eggs, and that's supposed to help you have a higher success chance of them becoming an embryo. That explains what that is. But 13 of the eggs fertilized, and then after the whole 5-day period, we ended up with 7 embryos. And so that's why I say I'm very grateful. You know, the average is usually 2 to 4 embryos, and that's what the doctor was expecting, 2 to 4, but we had 7. Now, if you've heard of that 50-50 rule, which means you can expect 50% of the eggs retrieved to actually become fertilized, and then you can expect 50% of that of your fertilized eggs to actually become an embryo. So it's kind of that 50-50 rule that you may have heard about, but it actually felt true for us, because we had 23 eggs retrieved, so 50% of that would be about 12 and a half eggs to be fertilized, and we actually ended up with 13 fertilized. And so half of 13 fertilized would be about 6 and a half, and that's true, we ended up with 7 embryos. So the 50-50 rule applied to us. So it may apply to you, it may not. So like I said, I had to wait till my second period came on before we could try for the frozen embryo transfer. So on April 16th, I went in for my baseline. You always have to get baselines. A baseline is a baseline ultrasound. They're looking for certain things to see if your body is ready for the next step. And so this one was looking at my lining to see if my lining was thick enough to start, and it was. Just know the baselines can push back your schedule, so don't have a schedule when it comes to dealing with infertility and IVF, because if you do, it'll get shot, it'll get blown out the window, seriously. I have an overview in my IVF journey of the process, but know that there are definitely setbacks and different things that goes into play. So our baseline came back good, and we started medications because, again, for frozen embryo transfer, you got to get your body ready. And remember, IVF, you kind of lose control of your body lose control. The doctors and the medication is literally controlling your body. So they're gonna have medications regulating whether sometimes they put you on birth control to regulate your period or to get you to a certain date. Everything's going to be controlled by your doctor and medication. So I started medications at the end of April because they're trying to get my body in a great position to hold and carry a baby. They're going to be regulating my ovulation. So your body has to prepare and get your lining thick. So the medications are shots and needles and pills in the vagina. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail at the end of my timeline so you guys actually get a great idea of the things you have to go through with and medication you have to deal with, because it's a lot. But my frozen embryo transfer was scheduled for May 15th. So I got my trigger shot. That's the thing, I can't find the date I did my trigger shot, because your trigger shot triggers ovulation. And it's usually some weird time, some weird day, and you have to do it because they're scheduling your ovulation around the time of that time you're gonna get your frozen embryo transfer. So if you're getting your frozen embryo transfer like during the day, they're gonna back that time up to when you need to ovulate exactly. So you have to get a super long shot in your butt at a certain time, and it has to be on time. And I can't remember, that's why I wish I had my IVF journal created when I was going through the process, because I could have kept track of it, but I did not have it created then. But I don't remember the exact date we did the trigger shot or time, but it seemed like it was at nighttime at a certain time. We had to get up and do it. I don't know if it was like 10 or 11 o'clock. I can't really remember now. But that's not the only shot that goes in your butt, by the way. We'll get more into that. So we did our frozen embryo transfer May 15th. We only transferred one embryo. The embryo was a grade A embryo. Our doctor called it a Cadillac embryo. And even the embryologists, I don't know what they're called, but all of them in the office that saw the embryo was like, that's like the best looking embryo we've ever seen. So we were like, great, hopefully it sticks to my lining and I get pregnant. And sure enough, it did. So on May 22nd, 7 days later, I started taking an at-home pregnancy test. Now, when you do a trigger shot has HCG in it, and you have to be super careful because it takes that days to get out your system. So if you test too early, it's likely going to be picking up the HCG shot and not that you're technically pregnant. So it may come out pregnant, but it doesn't mean you're pregnant because it's picking up that trigger shot. So you have to be very, very careful and give yourself enough time. But I did start my home pregnancy test 7 days after the transfer. And that test had a faint line on it. And so I knew at that point, because I was going to continue testing, but I knew at that point if it got lighter, that meant I'm not pregnant. And you know, it was picking up the trigger shot because I'm not producing my own HCG. Once you get pregnant, your body's going to produce your own HCG. So if the lines turned darker, the more I took tests, that meant I was pregnant because my body is actually producing its own HCG at this point, and the trigger shot is out of my system. So I started testing every day, about 2 or 3 times a day. I'm going to show you guys my pregnancy test, because this was the whole 2-week wait, remember. So after a week, like I said, I started doing pregnancy tests. And then I also wrote all of my symptoms I experienced during the 2-week wait. And so I definitely felt my implantation cramp. Some people say they do, some don't, but I definitely know the day it implanted. I felt it. It was like pinches. I felt pinches for about 30 minutes or whatever. I had super high temperatures. I had insomnia. I had cramping. I had the urge to pee a lot. I also was super, super hungry. So I had all the symptoms were there. And I think the number one symptom that I knew I was pregnant was when I turned away a cup of coffee because I couldn't stand the smell of it. And guys, I'm a coffee lover. If you don't know, I love me some coffee. I have to have it every day, every morning. But that morning, I made a cup of coffee and I looked at it and I felt disgusted. And I said, oh my God, I gotta be pregnant. And sure enough, I was. The 2-week wait, I know, is one of the hardest times when you're pregnant because you're waiting to see whether or not, you know, you're pregnant or not. And so what I did in my IVF journal, I included a 2-week wait list in here of some things to help you keep busy because it sure did help me. I did a lot of those things on that list because it's so mind frustrating. You want to know, am I pregnant or not? And I had to do a lot of things to keep my mind off of obsessing over it. So I got a whole list of things that you guys can do to help you with that whole 2-week wait in my IVF journal. So my actual blood test, you know, at the doctor's office wasn't until May 28th, which was 13 days past my transfer. That was when I get the official word that I'm pregnant. I knew from my home pregnancy test and my symptoms that I was pregnant, but you know, you still don't want to get your hopes up until you hear the doctor's word, until they draw your blood and tell you you're pregnant. So I actually got my results back, and my results were mind-blowing.
We have the results of your pregnancy test? Okay, so the pregnancy came back positive.
Yay!
And it is way too high.
Oh God.
We wanted the first pregnancy test to be at least 100. Your level is 2,258.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
And so mine was super high. Usually you'll go back for a second blood test after they do the first one to see if your levels have increased, because if they increase, that means you're definitely pregnant, and that's what they look for. But because mine was so high, there was no second test needed. They wanted me to come in for an ultrasound to see if my embryo had split and become twins, because it was ridiculously high. So I went in straight for an ultrasound a few days later, and thank God it wasn't twins. It was just a really strong baby and was producing just a lot of HCG, and that was at 5 weeks. And you know, your weeks count from the time your period started. So I was technically 5 weeks pregnant at that point when I had my first ultrasound, which is usually super early to have an ultrasound, but they just wanted to make sure that the embryo didn't split and become twins in my stomach. And then at 7 weeks, which was 2 weeks later, on June 13th was when we actually heard the baby's heartbeat.
Everybody hear that?
Yeah.
We like it.
That was such a special day. And I stopped all my medications on July 13th, except my prenatals and my metformin. But I had to continue my metformin and prenatals throughout my entire pregnancy. But I stopped all of the hormonal medicines on July 13th. And on July 15th was the day I transferred to an OB. The infertility doctor released me, and he said, you're free to go to your OB now. You're good to go. So that was our journey, and that was with a successful journey. So you can see it took months to get to that process, and it didn't happen overnight, and that's with nothing pretty much going wrong. So just imagine things going wrong, or you know, you're not producing any eggs, or you're not producing any embryos, or non-fertilized, and you have to do that process again. Or if you miscarried and you got to restart it, or the baby didn't stick to your lining and you got to go back in and do another embryo transfer. So that was a successful process all the way through, and it still took months to get there. That should give you an idea of timing wise. Let's talk about medicine, okay? Yes, it's gonna be a lot of medicine. I'm actually gonna insert some clips of you guys to show you how much medicine we actually went through. And this is not all. This is when I decided to start keeping the boxes and bottles and stuff. So some of them got thrown away, but I decided to keep them just for now, for video purposes, just to see how much medicine we actually went through. I'm gonna give you guys an idea of how much medicine actually took and how much my body had to endure. I think I lost a piece of paper with some medicine, like I think a week of medicines, and I can't find it. That's why I wish I had my IVF journal. Guys, I kid you not, I put everything in here. I put a medication tracking system in here, an expense tracking system. I put everything in here so you can keep track of everything. But what I did was I calculated everything I had some concrete information on. So this was at least the shots and medicines that I had to take or inject. It could have definitely been more because, like I said, I feel like I'm missing a few, but this is at least. So the number of shots. Now, when you're going through IVF, you're getting shots in your tummy. You're also getting shots in your butt. I had at least 49 shots injected in me. And a lot of times in the stomach, you have to go from side to side, because once you stick a shot in your stomach, that area is sore. So you usually go to the other side because, you know, give this side a break. So you're back and forth every night. Same thing with your butt. When you're injecting shots in your butt, you're going from cheek to cheek, because that area that you injected the shot is gonna be sore. So, you know, you move to the other side. Oh, the needle that goes in your butt is super, super long, by the way. I mean, it's FYI. Now, the butt shot, the only thing to be worried about is hitting a muscle. And guys, when I tell you my husband hit a muscle one night, oh my God, it hurt. It was so painful, so painful. And it took weeks for my butt to heal. I mean, it hurt when I sat down, it hurt when I got up, it hurt when I laid down. It was painful, and it took weeks to heal. Like, I felt it. And I'm thankful though, because my doctor only prescribed me to get my butt shots like every 3 days. So, and I know some people have to do them every day or multiple times a day. And I feel so bad for these people, because the butt shots really do hurt. Your butt is sore, so you feel it when you sit down, and it's just, it's difficult, and it's painful, and it's stressful. But the ones that go in your stomach, so the medicines was Gonal and Menopur that went in my stomach. And one of the needles wasn't long, it wasn't too bad. One of them was a little longer, but one of these medicines, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them burned like crap. I mean, burned. It was like to the point where my body felt like it was on fire from the inside out. Like, it burned. Yes, it did. And I had heard about it from other YouTubers, and I asked my nurse, and I was like, now, does one of these burn? She was like, oh no, you know, everybody's body is different. Everybody's body is different. But just know it's a possibility that one of them is gonna burn your body. Okay, it really does burn. Let's move on to my pills via mouth, and this does include, I had prescribed prenatals as well. So the prenatals were 3 pills, but I also had to take so many other pills by mouth, including, I had to take a lot of baby aspirin. There's some other medicines like Doxy and Medrol and other things by mouth I had to take. And also I had to continue my 2 metformin a day. So the pills that went in my mouth, this is just from February 14th, remember Valentine's Day, to July 13th, my stopping period of medicines. So pills I had to take via my mouth was 639 pills. And then pills I had to insert via my vagina. Yes, pills go up your vagina too. The pills I had to take were like, so you got estradiol and progesterone that goes up your vagina. The number of pills I at least had to take was 338. Yeah, so 49 shots, 639 pills via mouth, and another 338 pills up my vagina. It took all of that to create this. So yeah, it's quite a bit, but it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. And I think going back now and looking back, I didn't even realize we went through all of this, and it took all of that. But it makes you feel very grateful, and it's so worth it. And I'm pretty sure, just like people that have to go through chemo to complete treatments and become cancer free, it's worth it. You just do what you have to do to get where you want. Again, guys, I just want to throw out there that if you're going through IVF, or you know someone going through IVF, grab them that IVF journal. It will be a lifesaver. And I included consultation questions to ask your doctor, things that I wish I would have known or thought of. I also included tracking of your medicines, of your appointments, of your expenses. It's just so all inclusive. I hands down took my time with it, and I wanted to help those who are going through with it, because after coming through this process, like I said, trying to find this clutter, and I've been wanting to do this series for like the whole 9 months pretty much, but I had to go back and find stuff and pull stuff, and it was just everywhere. So that's why I actually created the journal, because I wish I had this when I went through the process and kept everything in one place. And so if you are interested in this journal, I will leave a link to it below in my description box, as well as in my pinned comments. And you can also go to my website, shopangelgrace.com. It's there, and hopefully it's super helpful for you. So in my next video, I'm gonna come back and do a video all about the expenses of IVF, because IVF is expensive. It's very pricey. So if you're interested in knowing more about what's all involved in the cost of IVF, be sure to check that one out. And if you did not see my previous video where I go into detail about why we ultimately had to do IVF and how we got pregnant, I explained that in the previous video, so you can check that one out as well. Thanks to you guys for watching my infertility series, and I'll see you in my next video. So today was our baseline ultrasound, which means that while we were waiting to start the process of IVF, we had to wait till my cycle began. My period came on. So my period came on, and then while your period is on, they have to get an ultrasound of you to look at like how many follicles you got, your eggs, and make sure you don't have any cysts on your ovaries and all. So that was today, which was kind of like, we didn't want to get our hopes up, because just in case there were cysts around, you know, like usually you have to wait another cycle and all of that. But we, you know, was praying that everything would go well so we can continue. Well, the good news is that all went well. There were no cysts found. Thank God. And I have lots of eggs, which is also great. We can actually start the process of injecting our meds starting today. And today is actually Valentine's Day. So guys, these are, you see this? This is a shop mall bag. This is a huge bag. I'm gonna stand off so you can see how big it is. But it's a big bag of meds. Plus, this is not all of them. We have some more meds like in our refrigerator over there. But yeah, lots of meds, lots of needles. So the fun is about to begin. If you're seeing this, I actually decided to open up to you guys about this process, because it's been a debate whether to or not to share it with you guys, because you know you don't want to share everything with the public. You just don't. But I also like to inspire people and help people, and there are a lot of people who have gone through this, and I can help them in some type of way and show them that they're not alone. We're not perfect. Everyone has their issues and their struggles or whatever it is. But fertility has been our struggle. You always gotta have tests. Your life can't be perfect unless you have no reason to trust God. So, you know, our life isn't perfect, and we're not perfect, and we have struggles and things we have to deal with too. And that's where your faith comes in. So here are the medicines we're starting tonight. This is the Manopure. This is the Gonal. So these two are the two we're starting tonight. Plus she told me to start taking aspirin, or baby aspirin. So we'll see how this goes. So I just came back from my doctor's appointment where we had another ultrasound to monitor my eggs. I'm on day 6 of my stem meds, and we got good news and kind of bad news. Not bad, but disappointing. But the good news is that I have lots of eggs, and my eggs are going crazy fast. Because, you know, over the past few days I kept complaining to my husband. I'm like, oh my God, my right ovaries are like killing me, like they're hurting. And I was only on day like 4 or 5. So come to find out, my eggs are growing super fast. They're like super large. I don't think we're gonna have an egg issue, as she was saying. I have so many they couldn't even count them all, and they are really large. So I'm only on stem day 6, and so I gotta go back. The way she was saying, it looks like we're gonna have an early egg retrieval, because I'm like skyrocketing and speeding, which is good, you know. So that's, you know, one less issue, is not having to worry about not having enough follicles or eggs. But the disappointing news was that we may not be able to do a fresh transfer, because my ovaries are overly stimulated. I would be prone to hyperstimulation, which is pretty much making me super sick, and the body super sick, and I will be in and out of the hospital. And so that's something that they don't want, because my health and priority is the first priority. Well, my health is the first priority, and they want to make sure not to overkill my body. We may have to wait, instead of doing a fresh transfer, we may have to wait and do a frozen transfer on my second period. to give my ovaries time to heal and calm down and simmer down, because they are just going exceedingly fast right now. And I can, like, when I got out of bed this morning, I was like, oh my god, I could barely get up. Like, I could barely bend over, bend down to use the bathroom, because like my ovaries were hurting. But that's because my eggs are growing at a really fast pace. So I'm a little disappointed, because I really wanted to go ahead and do a fresh transfer after all the waiting. And here we go again. It's just more waiting. This process is definitely not nothing you can actually have a calendar for or time schedule for. I mean, it's not like bad news. It's just more waiting. You might as well just call it the waiting game. The waiting game, the waiting game, the waiting game. I will probably give you guys insights to our shots tonight and kind of what we've been dealing with and going through with the shots and all. So I gotta add on an additional shot starting tomorrow called Time, plus all the shots that I'm getting now and the meds. Hey guys, so tonight I wanted to come to you and give you an idea with the shots and stuff. So I'm gonna show you the medication. So here we have the Menopur, and then we have the Gonal. I have to get both of these shots at nighttime, and then I have Centratide that I have to do in the mornings. As far as the shots, and I'm gonna show you kind of how that looks. Needles. Look at that one. I have to clean them off with alcohol wipes. You know, you don't want infection, so you have to make sure it's sanitary. So you have to start by pushing air into the sodium chloride, and then we're going to withdraw 1 milliliters of the sodium chloride, and then we'll mix the 1 milliliters with the Menopur. We're just mixing the sodium chloride with the Menopur powder. So that's how it looks. So now we're going to withdraw all of that out. And then we're going to switch out this top here with the needle so that we can do the injections. So the Gonal is easy. We already had mixed it because we've been using the same vinyl over and over till it's all gone. So it's already mixed. Anyway, my doctor has me on 112. So I'm gonna put the air in. Then we're gonna lift it up and pull out 112. Alright, at the line, and that's ready to go. And sometimes you just want to squeeze up till you see a dot and make sure you got all the air bubbles out. Well, ready to go. Ow, just stuck myself. Alright, so we're gonna put the injections in my tummy now, and every night, you know, we've been switching from side to side so that so many needles won't go on one side. You know, it's sore, so we're gonna go ahead and put those in now. Let me just give you this FYI. If you've ever heard about Menopur burning, it burns, okay? It burns. Like, don't let it sugarcoat you. It feels like your whole body is on fire, like it's burning on the inside. Like, it burns soon as you start injecting the Menopur. So I always do that one second, and I do the Gonal first, because the Gonal is pretty easy, simple. But that Menopur, ooh, don't play with that one. Be ready. I'm ready, husband. All right, guys, so tonight is the last night of shots. Thank God, thank God. Oh my God, thank God. And I will be getting my trigger shots tonight. We will not be doing a fresh transfer. So we will come back and do a frozen in a few months, which I'm happy about because that gives my body a break. So my body has went through it. So I'm not disappointed, so I'm okay with that.
I'm still waking up out of this anesthesia. But I could have slept a little longer. I'm like, oh, keep me on there a little longer because that sleep was so good. But it was so quick. So the good thing is, it took under 20 minutes or so. I didn't feel a thing. I was gone. I broke the record supposedly. Yeah, I definitely feel them. Yay.
Hey.
God is good. God is great. You can see my eyes are filled with dozy. It's a little drugged up.
Drowsy, not dozy.
Drowsy.
Not dozy.
So the husband that's giving the sperm, I've got these eggs out. Yes, out. So praise God, but hopefully we get some good quality. They're gonna fertilize them. And I'm gonna go to sleep, okay?
Just got home from the doctor's appointment today. He checked my lining. Everything looks good. He wanted me to be at least a 7. And so I was actually at an 8. So that's good. So our transfer date is set up for a week from today. So excited about that. A little bit scary as well, but still on meds, and now the med goes way up. Way up. So this is going to be challenging, but doable. All right guys, so today is the day. Wow, it's actually here. Today is transfer day, which means they're going to be placing the embryo, which is also known as a baby, inside me, and we're gonna pray that it sticks to my lining and I become pregnant. Let's see if I can put it back, figure out this hole. Look at him. Okay, I think that's better. That's better. And we're just prepped and pretty much ready, I suppose. As ready as we're gonna be.
Here we go. Here comes a little catheter right now. Everybody see it? Right there. Everybody happy? I'm happy. Shoot.
Ready?
Right spot. It kind of floated up to the top of the uterus. That's the bubble in the fluid around the embryo. I'm glad it floated up and not down. So basically, that was it. Nothing to get pregnant.
that's it?
Angel.
All right, guys, it's done. It's so done. It's so done. And it's so crazy because the doctor and all the nurses, all the people in there was like, that's the best looking embryo that ever saw. Like, they were no joke. He was like, seriously? What did he say? What was his words?
The Cadillac of embryo.
The Cadillac of embryos. It was like, that is the best looking embryo he's ever saw. And even the embryologist, she was like, yes, that is one of the best I've ever seen. Hopefully, we'll keep our fingers crossed. I am praying for a strong little healthy boy. How about you, husband?
Same here.
We both want a boy. Not that we'll be disappointed if it's a girl. We'll be happy, but I'll be ecstatic if it's a boy. Eat lunch now. We're gonna go eat Japanese because I've been looking forward to it. I was like, I deserve it. I want it. That's what I want. So after this long process, it was super easy, by the way. Super easy. It was like not painful. Today is the day we get our first results from our beta, which is our blood test. You can see I got my blood drawn this morning, and the doctor should be calling any minute now with the results. We have taken a home pregnancy test for the past few days, and they were all positive. Today is all about receiving confirmation.
We have the results of your pregnancy test. Okay, so the pregnancy came back positive.
Yay!
And it is way too high.
Oh God.
We wanted the first pregnancy test to be at least 100. Your level is 2,258.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We want you to come back on Friday. He's gonna take a look and do the first ultrasound just to make sure that the pregnancy is in the uterus and make sure that that one embryo that he put, it didn't split.
So as you guys heard, it's up in the air whether or not I'm having one or two. Well, we don't know what's going on inside my tummy, but we do know that I'm pregnant. Very, very, very pregnant. Today is our first ultrasound day because my blood work was so high on Tuesday, because today is Friday, so it's 3 days later. They want to see what's going on in there, to see if the embryo split, if it's how many babies in there. So we're gonna go find all of that out today. All right guys, so we're back from our doctor's appointment and everything went well, and there is only one embryo in there. Well, actually one sac. We can't see inside the sac yet because we did a super early ultrasound just because my beta was so high. My blood results were so high. So we just wanted to see if the embryo split. So it didn't split. There's one sac. So in 2 weeks we'll go back to hear the baby's heartbeat, and as well as hopefully see inside the sac, which was hopefully one embryo. Let me just tell you so far how I'm feeling though. So when I tell you I've been doing nothing but sleeping and eating, literally just sleeping and eating, like, it's crazy because last week I kept telling Rashad, I'm like, I'm too early for all these symptoms that I'm having. Like, usually, you know, you don't get morning sickness and all that stuff until you're like 7, 8 weeks or whatever. And I'm like, yo, like, I literally wake up in the middle of the night and I have to eat. Like, I cramp up, I can't move. I mean, I hurt. And I literally have to put food in my stomach. That's all it is. I have to put food in my stomach almost every hour. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I'm not even that far along. But sure enough, that's why my blood results was high. My body is pumping, 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 and this is a growing baby, okay? He is kicking my butt. I feel like, literally, I feel like a kid. Y'all, I have to, like, literally put snacks in my purse everywhere we go. I feel like a freaking kid, seriously. Like, when we leave in the house, Rashad's like, do you have you some snacks? And I'm like, oh my God, yes, I have to. Because if I don't eat, my body, I go to cramping. I mean, I can't function. I literally can't move, and it's painful. It hurts. As soon as I put something in my mouth, I'm good to go. Literally, I'm good to go. So that's so interesting to be so early and having those crazy, crazy symptoms. But it's just a big, strong, healthy child. That's why my blood was so high, and that's why my body just needs nothing but food and rest right now. Sorry, that's probably why I've been MIA. Today I am 6 weeks 6 days, so tomorrow I will be hitting 7 weeks. And we had our first heartbeat ultrasound. It's an exciting yet scary day, and we had to wait about 2 weeks before this, so you can only imagine. This whole journey has not only been stressful, especially when you're an impatient person and you like answers like this. It's been very, whew, it's definitely been a test. It's definitely been a test and a journey. But we just got back. Well, I just got back. My husband's at work. And I am excited that, yes, we do have a heartbeat. I'm gonna tell you, I was a little nervous because initially when the doctor was trying to get ultrasound, it was like panic because nobody was hearing anything, and you know, the doctor's like, something's wrong, and she's like, I think it's you pressed the wrong button. And it was just like, are y'all just not telling us something? Like, are you trying to figure out a way to just tell us? You know, because it was, oh my God, my heart dropped. It was just, oh man, it was definitely scary because I'm looking at Rashad. I'm like, we don't hear a heartbeat, you know, like, what's taking so long? What's the problem? is it really a tech problem, or are they just trying to, you know, figure out how to say they can't find a heartbeat, you know? Whew. Take a moment. Guys, that was so scary. Very scary. But I am happy to say it was a tech issue. Trying to figure out the machine that they had. But we got the heartbeat. We found the heartbeat. There is a heartbeat. And I'm going to insert the video here so that you can hear the heartbeat as well. There.
Everybody hear that?
Yeah.
We like it.
So yeah, there you have it. Again, by the time you guys are actually seeing this video, I'll be much farther along, because as of right now I have not decided to go public with this, but I do plan on going public in the future once I'm past that high risk mark. I mean, my whole pregnancy is going to be high risk, but I'm super prone in the early trimester. Opening up your life to the public is just not easy anyway. And then because once you open up, you know, people want answers. And when you have started sharing your life and your journey, people just want to know, you know. And so, but you also have to make the decision, are you ready to make that public? Because it's such an emotional and stressful part of your life. So that's why I decided not to share the early parts until I was past this whole zone of high risk zone, you know, the major high risk zone. My entire pregnancy will be high risk, but the first early stages is the most prone to complications and miscarriages and all of the negative things that come along. But I'm not claiming that. We're staying positive. And, you know, God is so good. Oh, he's so good. Today, June 13th, which is a Thursday, is a good day. So the good news is, I've been taking a lot of drugs for a long time, okay? Lots of drugs. But the good thing is I can start weaning my body off of those drugs, which is, oh, thank God. I'm done with my shots. Yes, praise Jesus. No more shots. And I can start weaning myself off the pills. Again, some of the pills go up my vagina. Some I have to take orally by mouth. It's just a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs. Just a lot. But anyway, so I can start weaning myself off of those over the next 30 days, which I'm so happy about. I'm going to show you guys a picture of the first ultrasound with the heartbeat. Okay, you ready? Here it is, guys. So here are the heartbeats here. You can see the heartbeats. This here, the entire circle is the sac. And then there is the baby. You see it? Looks like a little blueberry here. And my sac is what we saw from the last ultrasound. You know, weren't able to see the baby then. It was too early, but we were able to see the sac. How many sacs I had. That's how we counted how many babies I had. I had one sac, thank God. Not saying I would never or don't want twins. I mean, you know, maybe in the future, yeah. But for the first child with 2 dogs, and y'all know these 2 are 2 kids of their own. Yeah, it was like, let's just start with 1. So hopefully, you know, in the future we'll have help and all of that stuff. So here you go. We do not know the gender yet. We did not do the PGS testing as a lot of IVF couples do. We didn't have to. It wasn't required or suggested or even recommended for us. So we didn't do it. So we will not know the gender until I'm farther along. So stay tuned. I will definitely reveal that to you all.
Right on, 10 week 4 day, 8.6 centimeters from head to run. Hey, sweetie. Oh, yeah. Hey, Tita, hey, baby. We see you. Wave it now.